Support for this podcast comes from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, connecting communities with the resources, infrastructure, and networks to ensure a vibrant local free press.
From KVPR in Fresno, this is Central Valley Daily. It's Wednesday, November 13th. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Police in Fresno have rolled out new technology that helps them write police reports.
We're anticipating it being worth its weight in gold.
It uses generative artificial intelligence. Coming up, we'll hear why that's raising concern with some. But first, today's headlines. Hanford Republican Congressman David Valadao has won re-election in a competitive Central Valley district, moving the GOP closer to control of the House. Guy Maserati, with our California newsroom partner KQED, has more.
Valadao defeated Democrat Rudy Salas, a former state assembly member, in the 22nd district. The Bakersfield area seat was targeted by Democrats after Salas narrowly lost to Valadao in 2022. But Valadao's margin of victory appears to have widened this year, as Democrats have lost ground in inland California. Valadao will be one of just two House Republicans left in Washington who voted to impeach Donald Trump after the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol.
That was Guy Maserati from our partner KQED. A Valley Elections office is on high alert after officials revealed on Tuesday they recently received a bomb threat. KVPR's Crescencio Rodriguez Delgado reports it's not the first threat at an elections office in the state.
The Kings County Elections Department received the threat last Friday, just days after the presidential election. Details are sparse, and it's not clear exactly how the threat was made, but it came after business hours. County officials said the FBI and the Secretary of State found the threat wasn't credible. Kings County is not the only office being targeted, though. Last week, threats in Riverside and Orange counties were also investigated. California Secretary of State Shirley Weber issued a statement acknowledging those offices were targeted, but she said the threats have not interrupted ballot counting. In California, every county runs its own election process and ultimately reports to the state. Locally, county workers are staying vigilant and cooperating with police. For KVPR News, I'm Crescencio Rodriguez Delgado.
A Fresno-based ag chemical company is partnering with a South American biotech company. They plan to launch products aimed at stopping bacterial crop diseases. The Fresno Business Journal reports that Heritage Crop Science of Fresno and Exacta Bioscience of Chile are currently starting their regulatory process. The products are described as low-risk pesticides that can naturally curb bacterial crop diseases. They'll target crops like walnuts and almonds. The companies plan to conduct trials in the valley in the spring, and the products could hit the market in 2028. The City of Fresno and the Fresno Arts Council will soon nominate a new Fresno Poet Laureate. A Poet Laureate serves in an honorary position as an ambassador of the arts and humanities within the Fresno area. Notable writers like Brian Medina, Joseph Rios, and Lee Herrick have all been named Poet Laureates in the last decade. Herrick is currently wrapping up a term as California's Poet Laureate. Nominations in Fresno are being accepted until midnight on January 24th, with an official announcement in April.
Support for Central Valley Daily comes from Fresno Mazda, part of the Prieto Automotive family, with special holiday financing deals on select models through the end of the year at the new showroom on Blackstone and Barstow. Information at myfresnomazda.com.
And now to our main story. Artificial intelligence has been changing how police do their work, from facial recognition to technology that tracks license plates. Now, Fresno's police department has a new cutting-edge AI tool that helps them write police reports. But as KVPR's Kerry Klein found out, it's raising concerns among tech experts and criminal defense attorneys.
In a conference room at Fresno Police Headquarters, officers show off some of their wares. There's a taser, body cams, and one of their newest tools comes to life on a computer screen.
An AI-powered narrative assistant.
That's Sergeant Stephen Casto, and the so-called narrative assistant he's talking about is called Draft 1.
The way that works is our officers will respond to their scene. They'll activate their body-worn camera. They'll record their video.
When they're done, Draft One transcribes the audio from that video and can use it to write a police report, kind of like how ChatGPT can take a prompt and write an essay.
See, it's producing it as we speak.
Casto demonstrates it in real time by using a short piece of our interview, which he's been recording on a body cam. In less than a minute, Draft One generates a full-page summary.
And so you can see the paragraph form, chronological order.
Fresno PD has been piloting Draft One for the last 7 months. It's the largest police department in California using the tool. Other cities include East Palo Alto, Bishop, and Campbell. Casto says, so far, it's saved a lot of time.
Like 20 or 30 minutes per report.
And he says the writing is better, too. Interim Police Chief Mindy Casto, who is married to Sergeant Casto, says she looks forward to rolling it out more widely soon.
We're anticipating it being worth its weight in gold. We're seeing very promising results so far.
But some experts are concerned about Draft One's accuracy and the potential for serious problems. Kevin Little is a defense attorney in Fresno. He says a police report holds a lot of power.
It's used to approve the filing of charges, to determine whether or not someone is eligible for pretrial release. It's used by probation officers.
Little warns a report based on body cam audio may be incomplete. He says a camera records just one perspective when there might be a lot going on. And he says it leaves out everything that happens when the camera isn't rolling. Little also wonders what happens if Draft One makes a mistake and an officer doesn't notice.
Let's not pretend that this new technology is going to be any better at the end of the day than those who are controlling it.
Others say the implications of a mistake, or even a misinterpretation, are enormous. Matthew Gariglia is with the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a nonprofit focused on technology and civil liberties.
One of the big questions I have is if an officer says into their body camera, drop the gun, will the ultimate report say, I said drop the gun, or will it say the suspect was armed?
But the program was built with safeguards to avoid those kinds of conflicts, says Noah Spitzer-Williams. He's a product designer with Axon, the company that produced Draft One. For instance, he says reports include prompts for officers to add their own observations.
We don't let the officers actually submit the report until they address all of those little placeholders. So it's a little bit of a speed bump to kind of make sure that they're really doing the proofreading that we expect of them.
So far, Fresno police have used Draft One in only misdemeanor cases. Their plan is to roll it out for felony cases soon, too. And then it may become just as commonplace as tasers and body cams. For KVPR News, I'm Kerry Klein.
And KVPR's Kerry Klein joins me now to discuss her story more. Hey, Kerry.
Hi, Liz.
So first I want to ask Kerry, you talk a bit about how officers need to read through the AI-generated report and answer certain prompts before it's technically finalized. Is Fresno PD's expectation that officers are going to correct any potential mistakes or misunderstandings during that final review? And did they provide any proof that that's happening?
Yeah, that is the expectation, that Draft One starts the writing process, but officers need to finish it and then sign off on its accuracy. So you mentioned those prompts. Mm-hmm. Those are actually in the form of bracketed statements. They're in brackets, and the program will not save that document until the brackets are deleted. And then on top of that, they actually get a pop-up when saving the report that asks them, exactly to sign off on its accuracy. They have to check a box to guarantee the accuracy of each report that they save. So those are some of the speed bumps. There's also a disclaimer at the top of each report that says Axon Draft One AI-powered narrative assistant used. Those are the exact words. Mm-hmm. This disclaimer is technically removable. However, the history of each report will show whether Draft One was used, so people can go and determine that afterward if for whatever reason it is removed. Because, of course, the nightmare scenario for everyone, for police, for attorneys, for people involved in a crime, is that a situation gets to court, a police report is brought up, and then the officer says, actually, that didn't happen. It was Draft One that hallucinated that detail. Because then who's in charge? Who's liable? And so law enforcement watchdogs are very wary of that happening, and police departments say they're doing everything they can to prevent that.
And AI and how it's utilized in a professional setting is still a very new thing. And most listeners are probably familiar mostly with ChatGPT. Can you tell us what's different about this Draft One tool compared to something like ChatGPT?
Yeah, there are a couple of things that are different. I am certainly not an expert on AI, but, I know at least enough to say that Draft One does rely on some specific algorithms that do come from ChatGPT, but those are tweaked. For instance, I spoke with a product designer at Axon, who says you can think of it as dials, and you have one dial for creativity, and the ChatGPT really it's designed to present text that's fun and interesting and creative. And he says that for draft one, they turn that creativity dial down to 0. So it's very dry and really is intended to be factual and relying just on the media that's given to it. And of course, that source, that media, is just the audio from body cam footage. So these reports are not drawing from any other material anywhere else on the internet in the world of stuff that ChatGPT uses. It's only that audio from the body cam footage.
In your story, you spoke with Fresno's interim police chief, Mindy Casto, and she said draft one is, quote, worth its weight in gold, with a big police talking point saying that the software is going to save them a lot of time. Is there any research to demonstrate that that's true and really back that up?
There's only been one research article so far. I mean, so mostly this is police departments who have rolled it out, because it really only was rolled out this year. Fresno was an early adopter along with a couple other police departments. And, they're saying informally it's saving a lot of time. But there is one research article. It was published just a couple months ago by researchers at the University of South Carolina. They were working in partnership with the police department in Manchester, New Hampshire. And that one article, just on about a couple months or a year's worth of data, was that there was not any time savings in creating these reports. I think that probably surprised a lot of people. Certainly police departments that I spoke to were really surprised by that. But the researchers themselves said the results are only preliminary. It's a relatively small sample size, and time savings can be actually measured in more than one way. So the researchers themselves even said more studies are necessary, with more police departments as they roll this technology out.
Do you know of any other police departments in the Valley that are using any sort of AI tools?
Not that I'm aware of. Certainly not with Axon. There's just really one other company that is offering a similar tool, but there are very few police departments using it. As a much smaller market share. Lots of other police departments do use Axon technology. This company is really a behemoth. They have a whole ecosystem. They have body cams, tasers, digital cloud storage. They assist with computer-aided dispatch, with lots of other things. Most police departments use Axon, but very few of them are using this particular tool just yet. But we're likely to see a lot more of that as time goes on.
KVPR's Kerry Klein, thanks so much for this reporting.
Thank you.
And that does it for today's show. Thanks so much for listening. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Linden and KVPR with support from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Find the latest local news anytime at kvpr.org.
No matter what happens in Washington, the NPR Politics Podcast is here for you. For the latest news, insights, and analysis from the election and beyond, listen to the NPR Politics Podcast.